focused on really narrow focused on large appliances, right? So we focus on home appliances, HVAC, central HVAC, and TVs. And there's a very clear reason why we focus only on these three industries into 2022, okay? This is because these products have something common that runs across all of them. First is that these products, you may change your phone every 2 years, but you don't change your refrigerator every 2 years. These are almost like infrastructure in the home. They stay in your home for a very long time. So 5 years, 10 years, some of our HVAC stays there for 15 years, right? Long life cycle. So supporting legacy products you already have in your home, that's a requirement for us. Second one is that actually these devices have physical safety requirements. Washers have moving parts, right? Large moving parts. If you think about oven, cooktop, these are actual physical safety requirements. So security and privacy become extremely important. It's paramount, okay? So for these reasons, we want to make sure that there's an alliance that thinks about IoT from a manufacturer's perspective to ensure that our consumers can continue to use their product as well as be safe. So these are our main focus. We are a very young organization, so we are only 9 months old. So we launched at CES this year. We have been intentionally very quiet and just heads down. We know what the mission was, and we were focused on making this happen. And that mission for 22 is to be, today we are 13 brands, and across these 13 brands, any app to any device. This is what we are focused on. So if you walk in here, there's a bunch of phones in here. They all have different apps from different manufacturers. You can pick up any one of those apps and you can control everything in here. And if you could pick up another, my wife may use a different one, I may use a different one, it's up to you, right? We leave that choice to the consumer. We have a very narrow focus on the actual even capabilities, functionality. So we have 13 brands today. We have 15 different product categories we focus on. And then in terms of capabilities or functions, we actually only focus on like 41, 42 functions. And we are intentionally by design doing it this way. Reason is like this. You have washers in your home, right? I bet you that washer has more than 20, 30 features. But I also bet you probably use top 2 or top 3. Right? You don't use all the 30 features. Now, if you don't, I wish you would use all the 30 features, but this is the normal case, right? So in this way, we focus on the features people use the most. We are also, I think, humbled to know that through all of our, failed trials, different attempts, we know that we cannot figure this out all on our own for the entirety of the, whatever the future, right? So what we're doing is, let's start with the set that actually, people use, and then let's grow with the consumer. They will tell us what works and what doesn't. They will tell us what additional they will need. So this is the focus. So that in a nutshell is what we've been focused on. So yeah, since we've been working very feverishly since January. This is our technical team. We have each member, we have 3 technical task forces. We have the API, we have the data model, and we have the cybersecurity. So these 3 task forces are all within the technical work group. And Lucas here from our Electrolux, he is the chair and the leader for our technical group. So, hello. So yeah, that's been the focus. I do want to show you a quick demo. In fact, yesterday we had all the CEOs here. One of the hardest moments is, I have all the CEO and including my boss, which app do I use? So the only app I could use was the one CEO who was not here was the Train CEO. So I choose to use this one. So I will use it to demonstrate here. So Patrick here is from Train. This is a little bit like the UN. We have members from everywhere. So Patrick is from Train. What we'll do is the Grundig washer, right? When Lucas runs the Grundig washer, my wife is returning from a business trip and I want to create some dinner with my son, okay? So we're preparing the dinner for her. When he runs this, you can see that on the Train app, which is an HVAC app, you can see the status of this, okay? We're gonna also use the Train app to control the oven. So I'm gonna control the Electrolux oven here, and let's say put it at bake, 100 degrees, and then maybe 30 minutes to heat up, warm up. And then you can see the Electrolux oven here, it starts, okay? Keep in mind, this is Train HVAC app controlling this. I'm gonna also do with the GE appliance, the GE oven here, because the GE oven, I need to also put in a big one, the turkey here. So he's going to do the same thing, and then the GE oven works, right? So Kay from Samsung, what she's gonna do is we've also built in some automation. So when she turns on the cooktop, because the cooktop has to be manually turned on, you can see at least the status here change from off to on. This automates the range hood above it. So right now the range hood is sensing the air quality, and then it will set itself into a mode that, let's see okay, it's gonna run at 5, level 5. Now what this also does is if you turn around and look at the American standard there, that's the wall thermostat, and it's also on the Train here, but keep watching this one, so the air conditioning has to climate control, okay? So what you're seeing is across different product categories, across different brands, the automation is flowing this way. Now I have to put some dessert into the fridge here. I'm gonna put it into the Vestel fridge if you look at the display there. So Patrick's gonna use, Vestel fridge has a fast cooling mode. So when he presses that, it turns into the fast cooling mode. So we can show the dessert. We're gonna also use the Train app to control the Vestel dishwasher. Now dishwasher, they are built to be quiet, so you have to kind of listen for the alert there. We're running it in the eco mode. Same thing for Beko. Okay, running there. All of what is happening here, if you look back there at the Samsung TV, is actually being reflected there. So real time, the Samsung TV is acting as the dashboard to say, if I just pull up that screen, I can see what devices are on, what's going on. And of course, lastly, I want to use the Train app to turn on the air purifier to your left. And then of course, no smart home demo is complete without the robot vac. So, so what seems like a very simple and actually predictable smart home demo, all of these devices are actually connected to its own cloud. So when it goes to GE, it goes to the GE cloud in the US, and the Train, they are connecting this way.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll stop it.
Okay, thank you. And what seems like a very practical, simple, almost predictable use case, I'm actually a little bit embarrassed to say, in terms of technology, we have intentionally focused not to reinvent connectivity. In fact, C2C cloud to cloud is an infrastructure that is stable. For our industry, all of these major appliances, big devices, in fact, large investments, the steady and secure is kind of the road we want to take, right? So we have this there. If you make that connection once, any app of my choice, the app, the locking in the consumer, this kind of thing, this is what has prevented smart home from actually being mass deployed, right? Two things. Break down the walls. Second one, my mom's got to be able to use this, right? We built many times things that it's great, technologists, you guys, everybody in this room, we are all early adopters. But if my mom cannot use it, ultimately what happens is it doesn't get mass distributed. What we think is, we are all competitors, right? Everybody in this room. So we're competing on certain things, we're collaborating on certain things to make this not only grow within like this, but we grow the whole pie together. Once this happens, interoperability is not the end. Interoperability is wonderful. Yeah, this demo is wonderful, but that in itself is not the end. What we think our main theme is sustainability. If you think about the devices in this room, if you think about HVAC, it constitutes like 60, 70% of the energy load in the entire home, okay? We actually, if an energy provider works with one brand, it's great, I know this brand, but I have a very partial view. But when I know all the brands, very complete view, and then we can start to actually manage it.
So real quick question, because you see some, I'm going to ask a couple questions on the energy management issue, is that one of the things I think that from a smart appliance perspective that is kind of, most consumers haven't really figured out, what do I want my device connected?
Yep.
And, but now the power, energy is becoming so expensive and people really care about that. Will your will this facilitate my ability to know, hey, listen, I know what my local, in the United States, I know what my local utility company charges for electricity because my zip code's typed in there.
Yep.
Wash your clothes at 9 o'clock at night versus 5 o'clock at night because I can save $5.83. Do you think you'll facilitate that type of?
Absolutely. That's kind of the direction we're headed. There are certain devices that is appropriate for that, dishwasher,
Yes.
washer. But if your app is telling you, hey, I'm gonna cook a dinner, oh no, cook it later and 2 hours later, because then that energy is cheaper, that doesn't work, right? So there are certain devices that do that. Even the refrigerator, if you think about it, in your home, let's say, the system knows that in your home, hey, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., the refrigerator often does not open. Then there's a way to run the compressor a little more efficiently, right? So this, as I mentioned, plus over time, right? So 5 years, 10 years, it's huge savings, right? So we think that interoperability is a way for us to contribute to sustainability. We are all in, look, we have EV vehicles today, right? Electric cars, because we want to sustain, a sustainable world. But in order to charge EV vehicles, we're burning coal. There's something wrong here, right? We want to make this, hey, as we all say, the brands you see here, there are certain brands here that have been around for over 100 years, okay? Before smart home, before IoT, before connectivity even was a word, we've been in the business taking care of stuff in the home. No matter how connected your washer is, if your washer doesn't wash, if your refrigerator doesn't preserve food, then there's no gain, right? So we have our first job. We do this well, okay? Connectivity adds a layer to say convenience, but also savings, better for the earth, right? We intend to be around for another 100 years, okay? So we take the very long view. This is how we do it. So I think the jazz and the sexiness may not be here, but we are intentionally focusing on, yeah, we've tried the jazz and sexiness, but in fact, what my mom really needs is to make this, yeah, I have many devices in my home. This is the app I want to use, and let her control it, right?
Could you address the health as a treated so many times? The whole, it sounds like this is complementary to the Matter initiative.
Absolutely.
You don't compete with them.
So we are definitely complementary. In fact, what Matter is doing is the same direction. But I think different industries, right, whether you're a small device, you're an IoT device, whether you're a large appliance, like an infrastructure in the home, has different requirements. Along the way, I don't know when, things may merge, right? And we are totally open to that. But there's a way that we should talk and work with each other so that once we get to that point, the other one or the other doesn't have to completely rebuild. That's how you remove fragmentation, right? Because another alliance for another standard, I'm not a standards guy, actually, I'm a business guy. And I've been in this role, and I think this is why I approach it a little differently and I saw the comic strip, it says, yeah, this standard is the ultimate, the last one. And then that's what the last one said, and the last one said, and the last one said, right? So I understand this, right? I think standards do not fail because of actually technology. Standards fail because the politics, the actual sort of fairness is unbalanced, right? So we want to solve that. In HCA, there's no leader. Everyone is equal, everyone, you build on your app, you are responsible for your cybersecurity. This is the only way we are going to be sustainable and for the long run that this would actually work.